Hey, Jim Spinato. Thanks for joining. So listen, this will be fun. A couple of weeks ago, I thought I would not interview, but just talk to a few friends about their magical career and how they started and how they got to where they are now. And like I spoke to Jim Sisti already, spoke to Matt Roberts from Rhode Island. Mike Bent was one guy, Wayne Genack, and Richie Austin that we actually talked to a couple of weeks ago, but there was a problem with his broadband, so we're rescheduling the interview, or not an interview, but just a bullshit session with Richie on June 23rd. Okay, but today we'll be speaking with a friend and fellow magician, Eric Decamps. I'm sure most of you are familiar with Eric already. He's been a regular at the Monday Night Magic in New York City, regular at Magic Townhouse, and mostly Magic. He's won numerous awards, including the IBM Gold Medal of Excellence in Close-Up Magic, and has had his own one-man show. And he was a student of Frank Garcia, which really, really interests me. I can't wait to hear those stories. He's also been a regular. He regularly appears at NEMCON, which is the New England Magicians Conference in New Haven, Connecticut, and soon to be seen at Comics Comedy Club, Mohegan Sun Casino. Soon to be seen at Comics, ladies and gentlemen, Eric Decamps.
Yay!
What's up, baby?
How are you, Jim?
How are you? Listen, how are you? It's been a long time since we spoke.
Yeah, it must have been at least 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Just a couple of things. I'm not a regular Monday Night Magic. I was a regular at the Magic Townhouse and in Mostly Magic. Those are the two nights that I were.
Did I screw that up?
Yeah, it's okay.
No, what did I say? Monday Night Magic, Magic Townhouse.
Mostly Magic.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, Mostly Magic doesn't exist anymore, but that was a great run. So was the Magic Townhouse when I started there.
Yeah, sadly, I did not make any of those. But soon you'll be seen at the Mohegan Sun Casino.
I'm looking forward to it.
Comics Comedy Club, which we kick in again on the 27th. So listen, Eric, I am by no stretch an interviewer, but I just thought that we would just chat about your career, like how you started, how old you were, when, blah 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 blah. So I mean, I know you, but I don't know too much about you. So when did you get started?
I got started when I was I think a junior or a senior in high school, and 1902. Yeah, I went to the same school as Ernest. So it was at that time, and what happened was I was in a mall. I was in King Plaza Mall,
yeah,
in Brooklyn, and there was a place called Home Decor, and in the back they had a counter, a magic counter that was run by and owned by Steve Rodman. And Steve Rodman told me my very first magic trick. It was a little cubio.
Yeah.
And I remember when he did it for me, I'm like, oh, I know what he's doing. And then he handed it to me, and I couldn't do it. So I forked over the $2, took the phone right back to my girlfriend's house at the time. And that was it. And then I started getting into it. And I started learning little tricks. And I remember spending a whole night working on color monty. I forgot where I got that. I'm not sure if I got that at Tannen's. But when I went to Tannen's, that was a big thing. And when I went to Al Filosso's shop, I loved the Al Filosso shop. We were spending a whole night. Yeah.
You with me? Did I lose you?
No, I heard feedback, so I was.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry.
Okay. So I mean, that was back at, around 75. And then what happened was I saw the first Doug Henning TV special.
Wow.
The water torture cell.
Yeah.
To me, because here's this guy, he's doing, making tigers appear, floating a lady, coming in thirds, and all this other stuff. Yet the one thing that impressed the heck out of me, that blew me away, and the reason why I had to study magic, was when he did his interpretation of the Slidini with Torn and Restored Cigarette with Bill Cosby.
Yeah, I remember that well.
With the card and cigarette, that whole sequence was so well done. And when he took the cigarette, broke it into 3 parts, placed it in the palm of his hand, closed his hand, and pushed it through, and it was hot. And I sat there like this, and I'm like, how the hell? So I spend months. I mean, I don't know anything about magic at this point. I really don't. And I spent months searching. It took me about 6 months by the time I found Tannen's. And that's the same time when Tannen's released the Slidini and Moore books, written by Carl Fulvis. Remember those books? Those two
I do.
big black leather-bound books.
I do.
And but I didn't have the money for that. But I found a copy of Slidini Encores, which is one of Slidini's. I think it was the second book, but of Slidini's. I think it was The Magic of Slidini, written by Louis Ganson, and then he did Slidini Encores, which 30 years later, not 30, yeah, close to 30 years later, I found out who helped finance that book.
Who?
It was a good friend of mine.
Who?
Alan Ace Greenberg. And it was funny because I didn't know about it until probably about maybe 15, 20 years ago. And it was, I was at his house for dinner, and we were talking about Slidini. He goes, I financed that book. I said, what are you talking about?
Wow.
That book. And he says, yeah. So when I came home, I opened up the book, and there it is, Alan Greenberg. I flipped out. Okay. I didn't know that. Yeah, he was a student of, Alan was a student of Slidini's. He was a real student of Slidini's.
Did you study on the Slidini? No?
No, but I had the opportunity and the pleasure and honor to be worked with him for about 6 years at Mostly Magic. Mostly Magic on Friday nights used to give Slidini the second half of the show.
Yeah.
He would do about 30, 40 minutes by himself. So I got to see him every Friday night.
Oh, cool.
Student of Slidini, as far as the fact that I read everything that I could find written about him. Anytime he was a TV appearance, I would watch it. And then later on, when we finally got VHS recording machines, I recorded it and studied it. Because, I eventually got all the books. But the thing about Slidini's magic that you can't learn from the printed page is his timing.
Mm-hmm.
The timing is so critical in his magic. And so to watch him and to study him, he had to explain the tricks because I understood them, but it was the timing to when to ditch, when to steal, and so on and so forth. And his theory on stealing is very, very, very good. Okay,
so hold on, because you jumped way ahead.
Sorry.
So you see these projects, you go to Tannen's, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so now do you start performing? What do you start doing? Like, you never did kids shows, anything like that, did you?
Yeah, I did when I was in high school and in early college. I did kid shows because that's the only things I could get booked at.
Yeah, yeah.
And I did those. Then I got involved with the Magic Townhouse back in around 78. And I got there because they were doing a haunted house and they were looking for volunteers to help out for this haunted house. Like they were doing a fundraiser for the JCs. And there I went there and I helped out and became friendly with Dick Brooks and Dorothy Dietrich, who were the owners. And
the owners, yeah.
The Magic Townhouse.
Who'd you work with? Who'd you work with there?
A lot of people. I mean, I got Peter Samuelson. I got Peter Samuelson perform there, and
Peter Samuelson.
Hey, was so good.
I stole this idea from Harrison Greenbaum to introduce people like this.
Oh, okay.
Hi, Peter. Peter, can't hear you. Eric, can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine.
So you guys work together
now? Are you?
We weren't.
There we go.
No, that's not true. Later on, I was able to be on the bill with him, but listen, Peter was in a level so far advanced to what I was doing.
You mean I was older? I was older is what you mean.
And better looking. And he was one of the first guys I've ever saw that really added theatrical elements to close-up magic. I mean, listen, Peter's a terrific, great magician. And,
hey, thanks. Those that was an amazing place with Dick and Dorothy. I mean, it was just incredible. The number of people that came through there. Obviously, Frank Garcia came through there. I don't know. Do you meet Frank there? Is that how you met Frank?
I met Frank in 1984. That's when we became friends at Magic in the Mountains. That was run by Mario Gonzalez and Steve Rodman. And he saw me work, and for whatever reason, he took a shining to me. And he introduced himself, and then we became friendly. I never really took lessons from Frank, but I spent time with Frank, and he was awesome to me, always awesome. And I'll tell you.
I mean, the other. So also there at the same time, obviously Wesley James was there, and I don't know if you remember Al Cooper at all. Al was when I first started there. It was Al Cooper, Wesley James, and me were the three main guys at the time, and then it sort of expanded out. But Slidini would come by, and it was an amazing. I mean, there's just everybody. Lou Lancaster, you remember Lou? Yeah,
Big fan of Lou.
just an amazing guy. Oh, huge. Lou Lancaster could back palm an entire deck of playing cards.
Wow. He had hands like a gorilla, so strong,
and he knew everything. He had this encyclopedic knowledge of Magic. It was just so the those early days of the Magic Townhouse were just amazing. They were just great.
So that's where I got to see you, of course. I got to see Marvin Baccalar, Ray Fisher,
right,
Glenn Gazin, who did some Mentalism Act, and of course that's where I met Mayor Yedid. That's where Mayor and I became really good friends. And but that was a transition period because if you remember, Marvin then eventually opened up his own club called Chamber Magic, and he had Ray Fisher and everything else. So when they left, that gave me the opportunity to start working on, not after the midnight shift, because that's where I started. And I was horrible back then. I was horrible when they would let me. But God bless Dick and Dorothy, because they gave me the opportunity, even though it was like midnight, whatever, and I got to do some magic and break in and start learning how to perform in front of people.
Hey, Eric, I just saw. I thought I should post up some of these comments. Rather. Can you see those comments right there? Chicago Magic Bash. You see that?
No, I don't see any of that. I don't see any comments or anything.
How about that, Jordan Burgess? You guys can see that, right? Can you see that, Peter?
Yes, I can.
Oh, that's
great.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, Joe Devlin was giving you a shout out also.
Yeah. Hey, Joe Devlin's in. I see it now. I
don't know, Joe, but my goal is to get Joe to perform at the casino with us guys. Peter, I'm going to.
He's great.
Billy Hoagland, who's the guy who runs NEMCON, says hello. And then there's my favorite mentalist. I love this fucking guy. Hi, Joey.
Hey.
Right. Grant says hello. Yeah. And
hey, then Grant, he's my buddy, Grant.
Yep. And one of my guys, Peter Hanna. Hey, by the way, did you ever work with this guy before? Look at this. Oh my God. Yeah, you ever worked with this guy before? Mike Miller? Holy shit, everybody's here tonight. Look at this.
Look at Mike Miller.
How about this guy?
Hanging out.
Mark. Hey.
Mark on Common Core Math.
Would you just look at this handsome son of a bitch right here, for God's sake?
Easy there, Cosero. Easy boy. Yeah, boy.
So listen, because I'm not a New York guy. I don't know what came first. The townhouse was way before Mostly Magic. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Imam used to perform at the Magic Townhouse. The townhouse began in the early '70s.
So there was the town. So was it the townhouse, Mostly Magic, then Monday Night Magic? Is that how it goes?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's it. That's the timeline.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, that's the timeline. But the Magic Townhouse was originally it was Ed Davis. Am I correct, Peter?
Mm-hmm. That's right.
And Wesley, but that was way before my time. I didn't know about it then, but and it was laid out a little bit differently. But Dick and Dorothy ran it very well. And then
look at this. I got a commitment from Devlin. Holy shit! It'll be whoa. Thanks, Joey. We'll talk soon.
Excellent. And you remember Jack London?
Oh,
Jack London used to come by. Remember? Exactly. Jack did amazing stuff that's out there. I still use his material.
He fried me with Stewart when they would do the mind reading act. And we would just sit there and going, I remember the first time I saw him do it, it was just Stewart, name the card. And he would just name the card someone was thinking of. It was great. It was great.
Eric, would you like to tell Mr. Regal about your prison experiences?
Yeah, I'm actually broadcasting from Rikers right now. I got the Al Capone cell.
All right, so I think I got way off track here. All right, go baby, go, Eric.
So you tell me, what else you want to? So you want to talk about my succession? How I went from one place to the other?
I want to talk about that, and I also want to talk about that award that I am embarrassed to tell you I was not aware of, the IBM Gold Medal of Excellence Award.
Just one correction. It's the Society of American Magicians gold medal.
What is it?
Society of American Magicians. I'm not sure if you heard of that organization.
Well, actually, it just came off your website where it says IBM Gold Medal of Excellence. So,
well, that can't be. You got your letters.
Yeah, I totally fucked it up. Okay, thank you. I love you, but
okay, but it's actually this SAM. And
by the way,
they wrote that because they get that confused. It's the IBM is the gold cups, and the SAM is the gold medal.
And Mike Miller, jump in here, babies.
It doesn't matter. He would have won anything. The gold cups. He wasn't good enough back then to win that. And when he won the gold medal, there was a girl that was producing a rubber lobster, I think, that year, and I think that's who he was competing against. So he was the best that day.
Yeah. It wasn't easy. It's not easy.
Hey, you know, Eric, with friends like this, I'm not sure.
I love Eric. I think he's one of my actually he is one of my favorite close-up, but I don't want him to know that.
Yeah, don't say it. You might think you actually have a heart.
No, I don't.
So the gold medal, it was in 1995 in Boston, and look at the worst conditions I've ever performed in. It was this big museum outside. It was an adjunct to the hotel, a beautiful hotel, by the way. As a matter of fact, that's where Paul Gertner does his show now, at that hotel. But they have a castle, and it just was one big room, and it was nothing but an echo chamber. And they used pipe and drape to separate and make rooms, which obviously doesn't matter. So you could hear the guy from 50 feet away performing.
1,000 feet away.
Oh yeah, it was. Oh, you remember?
I was there. I was the stage manager.
And it was horrible, and I was like so depressed. And it didn't matter. I said, listen, this is it. I'm not doing this anymore. Because it was important to me at the time, and contests at that time, magic contests, although they are subjective, meant something to me very much. And I had won 2 silver medals with the SAM, but I wanted to try the gold because the gold had only been given to one person. And that was before me, that was Johnny Ace Palmer. And so in 1990, I won my 2nd silver medal, and they sponsored me to go to and represent the society, be the official representative to FISM, for the Society of American Magicians for Close-Up Magic. I was close up. My buddy George Soterio was sponsored to go and see to represent the SAM on stage. He did fantastic, and it was a close-up show. It was unbelievable. The contest was like 56 competitors over 2 days in close-up alone. And I think about 75 or 80 in stage in this big theater. So I go to Lausanne, Switzerland, and I do the thing. I'm going to do the contest. And the day before, there was this performer, a U.S. magician. Well, if you want to call him a magician. How he got accepted, I don't know. But he did this thing with a ventriloquist dummy, and it was really bad. It was so bad that they literally booed him off stage.
Who was that?
They booed this guy, and not only did they boo, they hissed. I never. It was they hissed, and I'm sitting there, and I'm nervous as it is, and I'm like, oh my god, if I suck, I'm done. All right. And then, of course, when it's my turn the next day to compete, I have to follow this guy, and I'm in the back behind the curtain getting my thing ready, and I hear these screams and everything else, and I'm like, and it was Leonard Green. And it was the year that Leonard Green got the gold medal for cards that he should have gotten 3 years before, where they disqualified him. So, but I felt good because I was following somebody good and not someone bad. You'd rather follow somebody good than someone bad. And so I did that, and it went over very well. I was very, very nervous because you're performing in front of 2,000 magicians at the time.
What was your set, Eric? You remember? Of course you do.
Yeah, of course I do. I did my glass production out of fire, did coin production. Yeah, but the act was new. I had never done it except a few times at Mostly Magic, and the structure of the act was wrong. And it wasn't until my friend Gary Roulette snuck a video camera and videotaped my act. And when I came home and he sent me the video, when he gave me the tape, I watched it over and over again, and it took me a couple of years to realize I'm saying, no, the structure's wrong. I'm an idiot. It wasn't well laid out. So I redesigned it and moved some things around and changed and condensed it. And that's when I did it at the SAM. I said, I'm going to do one more contest. Here's what it is, and I was lucky to get that gold medal because there's only been 2 people that have gotten it.
Good for you, man. So where do you go from there?
No, I was working mostly Magic up until they closed in '93. I was there for 12 years. Imam, as Peter can tell you, Imam was an incredible artist and a brilliant engineer.
Oh yeah.
Really?
Oh,
I don't know anything about him.
Yeah, he was an incredible artist, and he was such a great guy. Him and Evelyn, I loved him dearly and missed him dearly. Think about him all the time.
Does that mean he passed away? I really don't know the man.
Yeah, he passed
Oh
away.
yeah.
He did?
Yeah, 2012 December, and it's a shame because. Anyway, so I go down there. I had left the townhouse, and I was like 6 months not performing Magic in any of the nightclubs, and I went down there to see this theater, to see his club and everything else. And I walked up to him and I said, Imam, I'd like to perform at your nightclub. Is that possible? And he said, and Peter, he would take a drag and he goes, call me and I will set up a date. So I called him to set up a date. I got there and I performed and worked. And then years later, because listen, let me tell you something. If you asked Imam a question, you had to prepare yourself because he was going to be brutally honest. He didn't pull any punches. It was not in his personality, not to just be dead honest. And you had to really brace yourself because I saw him devastate guys because I said, so what do you think? And he would just go boom and tell you. So about 4 or 5 years, I finally, after working there, I got the nerve to ask him. I said, I have to ask you a question. He goes, look, because he would always audition everybody when you get to see him, and he was brutal with that too. So he said, I said to him, but Imam, you booked me and you never had me audition. I expected to audition. So Imam being Imam, he takes a drag of a cigarette and he says, well, I figured you worked 3 years at the Magic Townhouse. How bad could you be? So I said, oh, okay, and I walked away. But we had a blast, and I missed that camaraderie there because that was this very, very special place.
Yeah.
And Peter performed there a gazillion times, and he killed in that theater. And
I was out working ships and colleges at the time, and I'd come back into town. It was my favorite place to work. It was just amazing. And
Really?
Todd Robbins.
Sure.
Where that's where we all sort of first met. Todd was there,
Right.
And Grace Chang. Do you remember Grace would come and perform there?
Grace. And she's doing an actress now, right?
Yeah.
And
she is.
So we had a lot. I met Mark Mitten there. Of course, Mayor went there. Peter Kugasian started working.
I was just going to say Peter Kugasian. Yeah, exactly.
God bless him, man. He's a great person, and one of the funniest and cleverest guys around. He was always so witty and so timely with his comedy and magic. It was always. He used to do the newspaper tear. He did. Don't tell me. Oh my God, Pat Page's newspaper tear.
That's great.
And he would do that, but he would always do it with the USA Today. And every show he'd have a new line based on the headline that was there in the newspaper that day, and it was hysterical. And he always hit. I remember him hitting, and we had so much fun.
When did that close? That place?
1993.
And when did Monday Night Magic kick in?
97.
97.
So there's a 4-year gap, no Magic in the city.
Right.
And that's actually what caused Michael to decide to do this. Is he called me up and he said, "Hey, we've got Mostly Magic's gone. We have there's no place. What are we going to do? Let's we have got this idea. John Lenahan has been doing this Monday Night Magic in London. What do you think about doing it here in the city?" And I went, absolutely. And Michael said, you don't want to ask about money? I went, no. The main thing is that there needs to be a place in New York for people to come and see live magic, because Imam was just, man, when Imam performed at that club, wow. When he did the balls from mouth, when Imam did balls from mouth, or he did the knife piece.
The knife piece, I wish I had that on video. I've explained it to people. I've explained it a gazillion times to people, but to see it live was incredible. And he taught me the technique, but I wasn't going to do it.
So,
well, exactly. I went and I hung out with him for an afternoon, and I photographed some of the props, and we walked me through the whole thing, and we did this. It was a great afternoon. I still have the photographs of this, the documentation on all of that. But yeah, it's just not right for my personality either. No, he takes out a. If you never saw it, he took out a knife. It was like a knife, maybe a blade of maybe 6 inches, Eric, something like that.
It was a good steak knife.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And he would take it out, and he'd stand, and he'd put up a leg like onto a chair, a foot up there, so his leg was up there, and he would take the knife and he would lay it across. First, he'd put a napkin across his leg, and then he'd take the knife and he'd put it with a sharp edge up. And he would take and he'd slam his hand down onto the knife blade, and you swear you could hear it, and it would slam down, and he'd pull it off like it was pulling free, and you could literally hear it going thunk, ooh, thunk, ooh, thunk. And he introduces it by this saying, he says, I will do this bloodless illusion.
Right.
Wow. We will do the bloodless illusion. And he does this, and you see the blood is starting to splatter all over this white paper napkin, and he throws down the knife and he grabs his hand. And Evelyn, always at the back of the room, she was cued to laugh at that point, just at that moment, to break the tension. And so he'd grab his hand and she'd laugh, and he'd go, "Don't laugh."
And then
he'd wipe his hand. Yeah.
One tear would come down his face. This guy, he was. I'll tell you a funny story about 2002 at the 100th centennial of the SAM. But he could make that tear and stop, and then he would pull his hand. He goes, "And what you read?" It's hard to try to quote Imam without trying to do a bad Indian accent.
Exactly.
What you have seen is nothing more than the theory of illusion. And he would slam his hand, and he would show his hand completely unharmed, and then he would say, "Scared the shit out of you, didn't I?"
Exactly right.
And the whole player would just bust out laughing. Am I right, Peter? Because
absolutely.
Who built that tension? It was like the shark in Jaws when before he was going to attack a victim. It was just so piled up and like, "No, don't do it, don't do it." And then he would do it, and then he would relieve the tension at the end with that line, because you didn't expect him to use a cuss word, and it was phenomenal. And the balls from the mouth, those people really thought he was regurgitating those balls.
Did he do that at the symposiums, New York Symposium?
No, I don't think.
Did he perform there?
I don't remember him performing at the symposium. No, I don't. If he did it, he might have been doing it to the side, because he had the club at that time. Because remember, the last symposium was in 1988, I believe.
87.
87. Okay, and it was at the Sheridan in area. But no, I don't remember him ever working that. No.
He did the balls on British TV though.
Yes, and I have that video.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a beautiful piece.
Gary Plants was kind enough to send it to me when we did the memorial. Remember? Yeah. And I played it there, and it was interesting at his memorial. All his engineering, because here's the other thing you don't know about Imam, maybe, is Imam was one of the top structural engineers in the world, and he designed bridges all around the world.
Wow.
And at his memorial, we invited many of his engineering friends came, and a lot of them heard that he did magic, but they didn't realize it. And I ran these videos of him doing magic, and they were unbelievably impressed. They go, "We didn't know he was so good." And they did. One of the partners of the engineering firm came up to me and he said, "Imam wrote software for designing bridges, and it's an old software, and it's the best software, and it's still in use today." and that was what 8 years ago.
So listen,
His specialty was long span bridges. So he did, for example, the Bay Bridge. I think it was the Bay Bridge in San Francisco. That was one of his bridges, and so that was his real specialty, and his forte was being able to do these really incredibly complex bridges. I didn't know about the software. That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
So, Eric, why are you doing that? Are you doing private shows as well at the time?
Yeah.
What are you doing? Corporate stuff?
Corporate, parties, a lot of bar mitzvahs. For a while I was the principal.
You did bar mitzvahs?
Absolutely.
I would fucking kill to see a video of that.
Well, working those bar mitzvahs, especially with a music DJ by the name of Heart to Heart, which it's like the old joke with Spinal Tap. This amp goes to 11. And it was trying to do these strolling magic in these rooms, and you couldn't even hear myself think.
Are you doing stand-up or close-up?
I'm doing close-up. I'm doing strolling. I would work the cocktail hour and an hour or two during the dinner. And, if you know bar mitzvahs, it's not during the candle lighting, that's 35, 40 minutes right there that you just sit around because you can't perform.
What would your set consist of, the close-up set at a bar mitzvah?
A couple. I had some very interesting card pieces that could work under any condition. I did some coin stuff. I actually, at one point, I would do cups and balls, but not on every table. I had a 2-cup routine, and I would do that because I can do that 2-cup routine in a 12-inch square. I designed it for that specifically to work right there in the corner of a table and do it. I did it, yeah. And I did the ring and string a lot. And I'll tell you a funny story. About the ring and string.
I was just watching your performance on the Stevens video today.
So listen to this. I'm doing a triple on a Saturday. 3 bar mitzvahs one day, and the latest one was, I'll never forget, was in Morristown, New Jersey. Now, and I get there and I'm doing the gig. And now I'm exhausted, but I have to do the gig. So I go through the thing. I'm doing the whole thing. And at that time, I was using this ring that I got at the Magic Townhouse. It was an aluminum ring, flat edged, and I would use a round shoelace. And I do my thing. I'm doing, and I hand it out for examination. And there's this guy, and I always do, I got to be loud. So I said, see if it opens, because I really want them to examine it. So I hand it to this guy, and I said, here, see if it, it's solid. Make sure it's solid. So the son of a gun takes it. And you know that gag when they do, I think Ferrantino does it when he does the linking rings, when you hand the rings out, and when you get them back, they're all bent out of shape. With the stooge, you have a whole thing. Well, this happened for real. When he hands me the ring back, it's bent out of shape. It's literally bent out of shape. Now, this is my 3rd bar mitzvah of the day. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. And now I look at this guy. I lost my mind. First of all, the guys who know me know that I'm very peculiar with my props. I got to be right, everything. So now he hands me back this ring that's bent out of shape, and I'm looking at this, and I've never had this happen to me. And I look at him. I lose my mind. I make a fist, and I punch him in the arm. That's when I realized I made a mistake. It was like hitting a brick freaking wall. So I hit him, and this is the reaction I get. Right? And I look at him, but I'm still angry. I said, well, fix it. And I don't know if you guys remember the old George Reeves Superman show, The Adventures of Superman.
Yeah.
When he got locked in a jail and he had to go out and come back, and he takes the thing, and if you remember the sound effect, when he bent it and put it back, that's what I heard when this guy put it back in shape and handed it back to me.
That's funny.
And I was like, thanks. And I did my little routine and walked away. But it was, I didn't realize that I was going to face death if this guy would have punched me.
You didn't get your ass kicked.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
So when do you meet the rest of the guys? You meet Peter at Monday night? No, you meet Peter.
Peter at Magic Townhouse back in the day.
He
had a big gig with Revlon. Remember that, Peter? You were the magician for Revlon. And
Yeah, me and Jack Adams and Michael Albright from the West Coast. Yep.
it was a beautiful poster. I mean, he really looked like a musician with his cat and cape and everything. I remember that very well.
Where do you meet Mark?
Mark Zakaria?
Yes.
Mark Zakaria, I don't recall. I think I met him in a bread line or something.
We primarily started sessioning and socializing at Fector's.
Wow.
Yeah, okay. But
And,
it was before that. I thought I knew you before.
well, we knew each other through Dave Corsaro, because Dave Corsaro knows everybody.
That's true.
And ultimately we were able to connect through there. But Eric was one of the people when I was trying to refine a show that I do at the Smoke and Mirrors. I sent a video of the show to Eric, and I said, do me the favor of being honest with this. I said, you're not going to black and blue me. Tell me authentically what will make this better. And Eric watched the show several times, and he called me and he said, "You got a minute?" And I mean, walked me minute through minute on the first 15 minutes of the show, because I really wanted the first 15 minutes to be something I was going to submit to the Castle. And periodically, God bless him, Eric would say, "You want me to stop?" And I said, "This is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for an honest assessment." And Dave Corsaro and I, for a long time, have been involved with our Tuesday night group, our Tuesday night magic group, where that was the criteria, was that you had to be interested in asking for a critique and be willing to take the critique. Okay. And Eric was so generous with his time and with his notes and with his level of understanding as to what would make the performance better. And that
was a good session. And yep. You took the critique, not criticism, but you took the critique in the way it should have been taken. Yeah. The way I offered it to you. Because it's not a question of insulting you, it's a question of you getting over that hump and making that coin routine, specifically the coin routine.
That's right.
To make it smoother. I mean, that's something that I worked. I can tell you, in 1991, when I was in Lausanne representing FISM, I got to see a guy perform that changed my life and how I approach magic and how I analyze magic.
You're welcome.
3 at the time, David.
You're the best.
I'm sitting in the I'm sitting in the stands, and I'm watching this guy do close-up magic to David Copperfield and Claudia Schiffer, I believe. And they're sitting down at the table, and he's doing magic. And this old man starts doing this routine. Outside of the fact that he's doing this incredible card magic, he starts doing this thing with a little cup and 3 breadcrumbs. And he did this, and I just didn't understand. I was sitting with Darwin Ortiz because he was there also. And we're sitting down, and I'm looking at him. I go, Darwin. I lean over to Darwin. I go, what the hell is this guy doing? I had seen Rene Lebond on video, and I thought he was phenomenal. But to see him live, it was at another level. Yeah. And he does the breadcrumbs, and I lean over to Darwin, and I said, Darwin, I said, I know. I've been doing magic for 20-some odd years. I know what he should be doing, but I don't see I don't see anything. And he says, neither do I. I said, well, I don't know where this guy's going, but I'm going to, he's got me. So it was an emotional thing because it's very few close-up artists that I think that can bring you to that level of emotion that Rene can do. And at the end of the show, I had to find him, and I find him backstage. I sneak my way backstage, and I look at him, and I go, Mr. Lebond, in Spanish, of course. I said, I just have to tell you, how I felt. And then I started to well up. It was so emotional for me. And he looks at me, and he smiles, and he goes, that's okay, young man, and he gives me this hug. I don't know if I'm Adam. And he gives me a hug. He goes, I understand. And I walked away. I couldn't even finish the sentence because I was so emotionally wrapped in what he did. And again, never seen anything like it.
No.
So the convention's over. I do my thing. I do a good set. I just fell out of the money for the contest. I didn't win an award, but I made a lot of friends. I made a ton of friends. And Tommy Wonder was wonderful to me, wonderful and so supportive. But so I'm sitting down there talking at the end of the night. They had this big lounge, it was huge, with this complex. And I'm standing by the bar and I'm having a drink with Tommy Wonder. And he says to me, "So how do you feel?" And I said to him, "I don't know. I was depressed because I didn't win. I had to win. You know, my mentality was into that at the time." And he said, "What are you talking about, Eric? You did a great job. You made a tremendous impression here to the magicians here in Europe. You should be very proud of yourself." And I said, "Well, thank you, Tommy. That means the world to me." And then I see this from across. I mean, literally about 100 feet away. I see this, and it's Ascanio waving me over. Now, I had been friendly with Ascanio because when he came to New York, I was translating to him on some lectures in the area. And we became very friendly. And for whatever reason, he took a shining to my magic. He liked me and my magic. So he waves me over, and I see he's talking to Rene Lebon. So if you know Ascanio was one of the most opinionated people on the planet. And he was very forceful on his opinion. And he would get I saw him screw with people. So he says, "I want to introduce you to Rene Lebon." And because this is my brother from South America. We're brothers. And then Rene says to him in Spanish, of course this is all in Spanish. He says, "Oh no, I met this young man yesterday. He came up to me. He was very emotional with my show." And I said, yeah. And he says, "Well," they were talking. He goes, "Well, I want to tell you." He goes, "Eric is one of the finest magicians in the USA." And I said, "Wow, thank you, Arturo." And he says, "Oh, really? Well, I would like to see." Rene Lebon says to me, "I would like to see you do something." And I look at him, and my inner dialogue is, "Get the F out of here. I'm not doing any magic for this man." And he says to me, "No, I really would like to see you do something." And I'm like, "No, I'm too tired. I'm exhausted. I can't do anything right. I can't focus." He goes, "No, I really would like to see you do something." And I finally came in. I said, "You know what? I'll tell you what. I won't do a routine for you because, hey, doing a routine for Rene Lebon at that juncture." So I said, "I'll show you a move." And
this is a long-ass story, Decamps.
Yeah, it's
I told you.
Give us the fucking Reader's Digest version, please.
COVID's over by now.
So I do that. I said, "I do the classic pass." I do the classic pass for him, and he goes, "Wow." And I do it again. "Wow." He goes, "Do it again." He had me do it like a half a dozen times. And then he said something to me, which I thought was very interesting. He said to me, and I hope I can translate this correctly, "Show me a routine that deserves such a beautiful execution of that slide."
Wow.
And I said, "What?" And then Ascanio chimes in and says, "What are you talking about, Rene? The man said he's tired." And then Rene turns and goes, "What do you mean? I want to see something that deserves such a beautiful execution of a slide." And they get into this huge fight. And I'm standing there with my deck of cards like this, right? And I'm like, ha, 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 right? And I'm nervous. And they're like almost going to blow. They're screaming at each other at the top of their lungs. And I'm walking away. And I said, "That's all I need to know, that I was involved in getting Rene Lebon killed." By Ascanio. And it was a better experience. And the next year he came and he spent a week at my house, and because he was doing a tour in the area, I translated for him, and that was
Okay.
That was changing for me to spend time with him for that week.
So tell me how you met Mike Miller. How'd that happen?
How did I meet Mike Miller?
How did Mike Miller come in the picture?
I'll tell you a Mike Miller story.
The bird story.
The bird story?
The what?
The parakeet. The parakeet, right?
Wait,
Yeah.
hold on. My friend, my very good friend who I love more than anybody in the world, John Stetson, has something to say.
Oh, here we go.
Okay.
All right. I won't tell. I thought this was about just.
Thanks, John. Stetson will be appearing at the Comics Comedy Club on several weekends. Coming soon. All right. I'm sorry. Go.
Well, Mike Miller, I get hired to do the MES. And Mike Miller, were you on the stage or were you competing? I don't remember.
I think I was competing.
So Mike Miller gets up there with his what was that haircut you had back then?
The mullet.
He had a mullet. I mean, there was 3 guys with mullets. Him, Michael Bonacci, and Joe Devlin. They were the thing. And he does his bird act and everything else. And he produces a couple. Was it a couple parakeets or just one?
4.
All right. So one of his parakeets, he clipped the wings. This parakeet jumps to the floor, and it's on the stage. And all I can do is like, oh my God, don't step on that bird, because he's stomping his feet. And I'm like, don't step. That was the whole thing, to when he was going to squash that poor little bird, and everyone would hate it. But thank God that bird survived.
Oh my God.
So I became friendly then, and we've been friends ever since.
Unfortunately.
That was a very short story.
Okay.
It would have been emotional if I stepped on the bird.
Yeah.
That's good. I would have cried for the bird.
Yeah.
And Mike Miller kicked ass at comics, by the way, Decamps.
Did he? It's about
Yeah, he did.
Did you hear that surprise in Eric's voice right there? Did he?
I say that every time I watch them. and ask him about working the SEM convention in Buffalo at Greg Fruin's theater.
Yes, tell us.
So I get booked, and they booked me for my one-man show. Called, the title of the show is Pure Magic. You can read all about it in that magazine. And actually, David did a great job of documenting, and I appreciate it, David. You did a great job. And so I'm there, and I don't know anything about technical theater. So I have to work on the stage, and it's like a 600-seat theater, and it's dinner theater. So I'm doing a close-up on stage. On stage, I'm doing close-up, and the first row of tables is probably like 25, 30 feet away. So at least I was smart enough to put together a committee of people. So I had 6 people on my side on stage with me. So I would work to them, and then they would watch me on the big screen or whatnot. But what Michael's referring to is the fact that I know this much about lighting on the stage. I know this much. So the one thing I know is called a wash, and that's what he always teases me about. Because I said, just give me a big wash. That's it. And all you can hear is Mike and Greg just going like.
Greg Fruin laughed so hard.
Did he?
It was Greg's theater, and Greg knew every aspect of the lighting and everything. And when you ask Eric, he didn't really care about anything but just light him up. And every time he started breathing heavy right before he went on, his hands are shaking. He was doing all Bob Fitch stuff.
That's true.
Yeah, you did that's where I learned about Bob Fitch, watching Eric get ready.
And what's wrong with Mike Kirsten? What the hell's the matter with him?
He speaks the truth.
So tell me about your hookup with Cosaro, man.
Cosaro, we became friendly at these magic nights in Jersey for an SAM club that they would have once a year, and that Herb and Phyllis, God rest their souls, 2 of the most generous people I've ever met in my life. And they would organize it, and they would hire me, and Mayer would book the shows, and he would book the acts. I think Peter worked it once or twice.
I've done it a couple of times.
The Russian Hall. The Russian Hall, and it was all the food you can eat. And they would do a magic show, and David was doing, I used to go and do strolling magic. And I met David there, and I remember David getting this crowd around him. I'm like, who is this kid? And I was watching him work, and I was very impressed. As a matter of fact, David, when you started Time to Be Awesome, I was your first interviewee.
I watched that Thursday too.
What you have to understand, Eric, is that in all honesty, the way that you spoke about meeting Rene Levon and the impact he had on you is the way that you had an impact on me. I had first met you at Tannen's Magic Camp before I knew any magicians. I just knew this was Eric Decamps. Oh my God, this was an award winner. This was a creator. This was a real performer. This is Eric Decamps. And then every time I got to see you after that, whether it was at the Russian Hall things or at Herb's house or anywhere else, it was intimidating for me to be like, to be like, can I talk to this guy? Can I ask this guy's opinion? Can I even do a trick in front of him? This is going to be humiliating for me. So the idea that I can now call you a friend, and the idea that you've been to my house and you and your wife, your beautiful wife Celeste, have, played with my kids, and you guys are like family to us. And
great day. It was a great day.
When you asked me if I would be honored enough to write this article about you when you did Pure Magic, that was insane to me. The idea that you trusted me with that was mind-blowing, and that's the impact you've had on me and an entire generation of people like my age.
Wow, that's amazing.
Except for me.
I said not his age.
Yeah, I said my age.
You came to the Metropolitan Room a couple of times to document the show so that you can write it, and the way you wrote that article and you documented it like with the stages, it was really well done.
No, thank you. But
that's a blast. It's funny. This past January, I got hired to do a gig at the New York Sports Athletic Club on 59th Street, just south of Central Park. So I'm doing a thing for the WBC. You know that I'm very much into combat sports. So I'm doing this thing. As a matter of fact, this is what the president of the WBC gave me at the end of the show because he loved what I did. So he gave me this award. And there's a picture I put up on Facebook of me. Mike Tyson got one of these, and Lennox Lewis, the same award. And I'm doing this gig, and the lady who hired me, turns out that she was friends with Chris Mazzilli. Chris Mazzilli is the owner of what's that comedy club? Gotham Comedy Club and the Metropolitan Room. And I had asked her, I said, "Oh, that's so funny that you know Chris." And she goes, "Oh yeah, he says hello. He wanted to let you know that you're a great guy and you do great magic." And I said, "Oh, good, because I'd like to go back to the Metropolitan Room." She goes, "Well, it's too late now. It just closed like a year and a half ago." But that was a beautiful space to work. That was
great. It's perfect for your show. The way you were able to interact with the audience and yet frame the magic. That's one of the things that's great about when you perform is everything is staged perfectly and scripted exactly the way you want it, and everything's just so precise. It's pure magic, as the name of the show was, and that's Metropolitan Room was fantastic for that show.
Oh, I had so much fun, and I learned so much. I mean, Fitch was a godsend to me. He taught me so much, and he was so patient. And we would go to the theater. We did it for about 10 weeks before I opened. We'd go there every Saturday morning, get there around 8 in the morning, because they had classes around noon that they would do. So we'd work 4 hours, and we did that for like 8 to 10 weeks, if I recall.
Wow. Every
Saturday morning, I had a guy that worked there, and he would open up the door and let us use the theater, and we knocked out all the kinks, and it was a great experience. And my wife Celeste was there at every show. God bless her. She went, I tortured her because she kept going. I didn't torture her, but she came to every show. She's very, very supportive of my magic. She's very supportive of good magic. And but I'll tell you a funny story there.
Is this going to be a long one?
Yeah.
We're coming up on an hour.
This will take about 2 minutes if you stop interrupting me. So
wow.
Celeste knows, she's watching this thing, so she knows where I'm going. So her and Derek Chung, which is a dear friend of mine, he was at all my shows also. For whatever reason, he just came to every show, and he was so helpful and everything else. He used to hang out. And the club, the way it worked, it was like going into 1940 New York City. They had booths. It was just a phenomenal space. And I'm doing the show, and they would always go, and they would sit in different areas of the theater, of the cabaret, and to see the angles and see where it looked like. How does the show look from here? How does it look from here? And how does it look from here? So this one night, I'm doing the gig, and they were sitting down having their drinks. And sometimes, and I can't really look at Celeste and Derek at that time because that would make me laugh. So now I'm doing this thing, and I'm doing the show, and I'm doing this coin sequence, this coin routine that I designed for the show. And I'm doing it, and at the end of the piece, I take the 3 coins, place them in my hand, crush them into silver dust. All right, and then my hands are completely clean. So now I'm performing it, and I'm looking at them. I'm making the coins. This is the sequence before I'm making coins disappear and reappear. And every time I look at them here on my left, they're laughing. And they're laughing more every time I look at them. And every time I look at them here on my right, they're laughing. And every time I look at them here on my right, they're laughing. And every time I look at them here on my left, they're laughing. And every time I look at them here on my left, they're laughing. And every time I look at them here on my right, they're laughing. And every time I look at them here on my left, they're laughing. And every time I look at them here on my right, they're laughing. And every time I look at them here on my left, they're laughing. And every time I look at them here on my right, they're laughing. And every time I look at them here on my left, they're laughing. And every time I look at them here on my right, they're laughing. And every time I look at them here on my left, they're laughing. And every time I look at them here on my right, they're laughing. And every time I look at them here on my left, they're laughing. And every time I look at them here on my right, they're laughing. And every time I look at them here on my left, they're laughing. And every time I look at them here on my right And now I'm starting to get ticked off. I'm really getting upset. And my inner dialogue, I'm going like, I can't believe how rude these two are. They're dying laughing, and I'm doing my show. I don't know what's going on. And now I'm getting really bad. I said, wait until I get these two at the end of the show, because I'm going to ask them, well, what are you doing? And then at the end, when I'm about to squeeze the coins and turn them to glitter dust, I realize what they're laughing at. I go to make my steal of the thing, and there's nothing there. Nothing. There is no glitter. And when I look down, right behind my left foot in a neat little pyramid pile is a pile of glitter. So what happened was the gimmick released before I could steal it. And I got this pile of glitter. And when I look down and I see that pile of glitter, now they were waiting for the moment for me to realize why they were laughing. And because they saw it, and it looked like I just puffed out glitter out of my butt. And that's what it exactly looked like. It looked like, and I see the pile of glitter, and I make the connection why they're laughing. I couldn't hold it in. I started cracking up. And I just nodded at them. But they were laughing so much. They said, Eric, it looked like you farted glitter.
Nice. Will you do that at the casino with me?
Yeah.
Will you fart out?
It worked very well there. That's
What's
a
that?
yeah, it's a pretty routine.
And Regal wants to know if there's a bird in the story.
We work in that theater.
Hear me? Regal's asking me if there's a bird in the story.
Oh, is that what he's saying?
Yeah. You got to read that stuff there. So listen, hey, because we're at an hour. So
Okay.
Number one, what are you doing with magic now? You're performing still?
I'm not as much as I used to. I mean, right now it's the COVID thing.
Well,
so, but I've been working on some new material. Actually, it's a piece I've been working on for more years than I care to admit. And I finally a year ago, I sat down and said, this has got to get done. And then during this over the last year, I've been refining it, and hopefully it'll be ready for comics.
Good. Which
I'm not telling you.
We're going to discuss that later. All right. So listen, I have to go because I'm exhausted.
I got a quick question. Eric. In three words or less, talk about your egg bag.
What was that?
Talk about your egg bag. Your egg bag routine is absolutely gorgeous.
It is good.
Actually, the best.
It is gorgeous.
Yep.
Yep. High praise on that. Just absolutely great.
Oh,
you know that the vanish of the egg, when you take that egg and you drop it in the bag and it's just gone. There's no fiddling. There's no fumbling. It's absolutely gorgeous.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. I spent a lot of time with that, and I would not have an egg. You know, that again, there's a case in point. I spent 25 years trying to figure out an egg break routine, and I met Bob White through Bill Malone, and Bill knows everything about what kind of magic I like, and he says, you know, that's the guy with the egg bag, and he knew that I was spending so much time working on it. I go, really?
Who said that?
What are Kalush's things? And so he did it for me, and I called him up when after the convention, the get together was done. I called him up and I said, you know, I'd really love to learn your egg bag. And to my shock, he said, well, you come down to Texas. You're crazy enough to come down to Texas. For whatever reason, he took a shining to me. And I said, fine. So I went down there, and he taught me his egg bag. I learned it in a day, and he was in shock that I learned it so quickly. He goes, I can't believe I've never seen anybody learn something so quickly. I said, I'm highly motivated, Bob. So then I came back to New York, and he learned it from Charlie Miller, and he tweaked it from Charlie Miller, and Charlie Miller learned it from Malini, and he tweaked it from Malini. So I felt I needed to tweak the egg bag from Bob's to me, and I worked on it for literally 10 months, every day, 2 hours. You know, I'm not kidding, until I could come up with the routine that you see, and I've been doing it for now 20-some odd years, and when I showed it to him, he was blown away, and he really was. He was just great. And if you remember Bob and spend any time with Bob, you know that's not so easy. And Jordan Burgess can tell you that.
Yeah, your egg bag routine is my two favorite egg bag routines are yours without question, and Joel Acevedo out of Boston.
I've never seen Joel work, but I hear great things.
Jesus Christ,
he's wonderful.
He does the club with me on a semi-regular basis at the casino. He is, his routine is, yours is fabulous. I love watching yours as well, but his too. Okay, so listen, you want to wrap this up because it's an hour? before we do, should we get some last comments from your friends? Like I think Mark should say something, and then we'll drop them. Mark, first of all, Mark, it's a pleasure to see you again. I have not seen you since I worked with you at the club, but that was a while ago.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to see everybody. And Jim,
which, by the way, in my 34-year full-time career, that was the worst fucking show of my entire life.
The language.
Without question. But yeah, I haven't seen. Thanks for popping in here. Anything you want to say to Eric, so I can go?
No, I'm looking forward to when we can get to sessioning in person again.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're doing better, pal.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Mark, and I hope to see you soon, my friend.
I look forward to it, Jim.
Take care. Peter. Where'd Peter?
You've been nice to him. So that's all right. That's all he gets for tonight.
Peter and I have worked the club on many occasions.
Yeah.
He just kills. You kill there. I love you. You're the best.
I love doing that place, man. You make that whole experience so pleasant, so wonderful. It's amazing.
Thank you.
It's just great.
You and Casero and Mike will come down and do it. You want to say anything to the camp so I can go have dinner with my lovely wife?
No, just I hope you share that egg bag routine sometime, because it's something that definitely should not disappear. So
that's a good one.
Definitely do that. No, man, you're great. You're great. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure being a friend.
Oh, same here, Peter. You've been an inspiration in many ways, in more ways than you know.
Oh, I'm so glad. My
Peter,
pleasure.
see you soon, I hope. You're the best. I'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good. Bye-bye.
Mike Miller. God damn, Mike Miller. How are you, Mike?
All right. I was just reading some of the comments here. Even Eric's wife, Celeste, says people shine to him.
Is that what you said?
Yeah, look at people tend to shine to you, Eric.
That's because he used that phrase like 7 times tonight.
I know. Yeah. Hey, I'm glad he allowed me to be a friend of his. So, Eric and I talk a lot. He calls me up a lot, and I was honored when he called me up when he was having some medical issues. So that made me feel, very welcome. Eric,
you're a good friend, pal.
Yeah, I'll do anything for you. You know that.
I know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And we are going to do this show with the medal winners for the SAM. So I will be calling you for that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And I want you to do your egg bag.
The best.
Yeah.
Being socially distant.
Yes. Yeah. Well, it'll be in 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Thank you guys for allowing me.
Mike, thanks for popping in. And I've only been in your company for a couple of times. You're the best, man. You are so nice.
Well, I appreciate it.
Working with you and Joe Casero at the Comedy Club was really, really fun for me. We have to do it again.
Yeah, I'm ready. Anytime.
I appreciate it. I'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
Take care. See you.
Dave Casero, you little shit.
Holy shit, Jim.
Hey, listen. Eric, during my show one time, I just said, like, holy shit, and the audience started yelling back to me, holy shit, Jim. So now it's like a running gag. So David, when you worked with me last, said, you want to use that in your marketing. So I have. It's great.
Yeah, if you go to holyshitjim.com, you can find out where Donato's going to be.
Yeah, thank you very much. That was fun.
But I just want to say thank you to Eric for everything over the years. And like I said, I'm very honored to be a friend of yours. I'm very honored to know your beautiful wife as well, who is the driving force behind a lot of what you do. I know that. And just appreciate everything. When I did a fundraiser for the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation, Eric was kind enough to headline that for me. And he's one of the best in the business.
Great evening. And you do a great thing with that organization. You do a phenomenal Your boys are the best. And how Lauren decided to accept your proposal of marriage, I have no clue.
No idea. I'm still trying to make sure she doesn't, wake up one day and realize what she did with her life.
All right. Hey, David.
It's great.
It's always a pleasure to see you, man. You're one of my favorite people. I've only known you for a short period of time, and I want to thank you for your kind words in that Genie article. And Eric's right. I tell you all the time, you're a lucky son of a bitch. Why? Because you have a beautiful wife and 2 adorable kids. You are a lucky bastard.
Those things, those boys are just ridiculous.
Oh, they're wonderful. They're wonderful. All right,
I appreciate it. Love you guys both. And Eric, thanks for being one of my Mount Rushmore guys.
Oh, thank you, and I'm honored that if I was any bit of an influence for you, that's tremendous.
You were. So thank you very much.
David, talk to you soon, my friend. Tell your
Take care,
family.
brother.
Well, see you. Okay, Decamps.
All right,
Thanks for doing this. It was just a bullshit session for a little bit over an hour, but it was fun, man. A lot of that stuff I didn't know about you. I've only known you for a few years, but that was great.
No, I'm glad, and thanks for inviting me to do this. This was actually a lot better than I thought it was going to be. I really didn't know what to expect. I thought you were going to attack me.
Oh, please no. And listen, I've been busting your balls for what, a couple of years while you coming up to Connecticut to do the club. So
yeah, we're going to do it. And
I told you before, we go back on June 27th. So we're doing shows every Saturday, every Sunday. Pick a day. Just please pick a day. And you'll have to come and you'll have to do the egg bag routine for sure.
Okay.
Please. And I will talk to you during the week or something. All right?
Awesome. Thanks.
Thank you.
And thank you to everybody who showed up and your comments and everything. I didn't get to read them all, but I appreciate everyone showing up and supporting this and supporting what Jim's doing, because I think this is really, really good.
Yeah, it's fun. And this will be up on YouTube too. So that link that I gave you, it will be up for a while if you want to go back and check out all the comments.
Okay, cool.
I'll talk to you in a week.
Yeah, thanks, pal.
Thank you, buddy. Thanks. Okay, buddy. That's it. That was fun, man. That was thank all those guys, man. It was fun. So that's it. Thank you very much. And again, just want to remind everybody that the weekly magic shows at the Mohegan Sun Casino kick back in on Saturday, June 27th. So we're going to do shows again on Saturdays at 4 and Sundays at 5. And all those guys that were here tonight will be performing. So it'll be fun. Okay, that's it. Thanks. See you.